This is about the space between. The space between your thoughts and your truth. Yes, there is a place in you that's older than words. A place that existed before anyone taught you who you were supposed to be. Before the world handed you labels to wear and stories to live out. It isn't loud, it doesn't fight for your attention, but it's there, steady, patient, waiting. So this is about that place. The space between your thoughts and the truth of who you are. The space between what the world expects and what your soul quietly knows. The space between the constant noise of life and the silence beneath it all. Most people never learn to visit that space, or if they do, they don't stay long. They've been trained only to live in their thoughts, analysing, judging, comparing, fixing, rushing. Thoughts become a kind of noise, so familiar it feels like home. But thoughts are not home, they're visitors, and most of them aren't even yours. It's likely others planted the first thoughts you ever had about yourself. Thoughts like, oh, you're too slow, you're not good enough, you must always be useful, you must try to please people, your value depends on what you achieve. Left unexamined, these thoughts solidify, they become beliefs. Beliefs shape our perceptions, and perceptions shape our choices. And choices, over time, shape our life. We wake up one day living a life built more by inherited thoughts than conscious choice. And yet, even then, even between our conditioning and fear, there is still that quiet space inside us, untouched. The space between thoughts and truth is where your freedom lives. Without it, every thought becomes a command. I feel anxious, therefore something must be wrong. They didn't text back, therefore I must have done something wrong. I failed before and therefore I'm likely to fail again. However, from that space, you can watch these thoughts arise, seeing how a thought is just a thought and not necessarily the truth. You are the one aware of the thought, not the thought itself. The realization you are not what you think can be the most liberating shift of your life. This isn't a grand or mystical skill. It begins by simply noticing. Right now, you might pause and ask, thoughts are passing through me? Are these thoughts helpful, kind, or true? Where did these thoughts come from? How would I feel without this thought? This question isn't meant to banish thought, it's meant to loosen the grip. It invites you to become less like a leaf blown by the wind and more like the sky itself, spacious enough to hold every weather without becoming the weather. Thoughts live mostly in the head, but truth often whispers through the body. Notice how your chest tightens when you judge yourself. Notice how your shoulders soften when you speak kindly to yourself. Notice how your breathing changes when you believe you belong, or when you believe you don't. The body knows what the mind forgets. Even your cells pause between actions. Your heart rests between beats. The body is full of spaces, and those spaces are not empty, they're vital. Likewise, the space between your thoughts is not empty, it's alive with presence. Part of what keeps us out of that space between is an invisible pressure to be normal. But normal is a construct, a man-made idea, narrow and shifting. Once it was normal to think the earth was flat. Once it was normal to value silence and stillness. Now it's normal to be busy and anxious. Living only to fit into normal is like pruning a tree until it forgets how to flower. You don't need to be normal, you need to be whole. And the wholeness lives in the space between. In the place where you can remember who you were before the world told you who to be. In that space, you are not your job title, your diagnosis, your label, your role in other people's lives, your past, your anxiety, fears or thoughts. You are the one who notices, the one who chooses, the one who can breathe, pause and begin again. When you meet yourself there, there is nothing to fix.